Okay, we're here today with another episode of the Hall Podcast. I'm sorry that I've been missing a few weeks. We're here today with Bobby and Ashley Udall and Bobby San Pellegrino. So we got everything here and giggling already. So let's jump right in. So Ashley, everybody wants to know, how in the world did you wind up with this guy?
She didn't know any better.
You know what? I've been asked this question so many times. It was just the right time, right place, I think. Honestly.
He duped you? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm never duped. That's for sure.
I just tell her she's from some remote town in Alaska.
No other
no
options.
idea. Yeah.
That is kind of true. All right, so we'll get to the details. Ash, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Utah.
What part?
In a place called Sandy.
We all know where Sandy is.
But the other side of the tracks, Sandy.
And yeah, it was the west side of Sandy.
So what does that mean?
We lived in a crappy area for sure.
All right. And does that mean you played with sticks growing up? Or what did you guys do growing up?
Yeah, actually, literally, I played with sticks. And there was a dirt field next to our house that we made into a dirt track. When it would rain, it'd be a huge puddle, and we'd go jumping in the mud. And yeah, it was a blast.
Ride your bikes or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many siblings in your family?
4. I'm the youngest of 5.
You're the youngest of 5?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And which high school did you go to?
I went to Lone Peak High School, which is in Alpine.
How did you wind up there? That's where
So I
you guys
moved when I was 15.
Okay.
Right before high school.
So you moved from Sandy down to Alpine. Mm-hmm. And you do any sports growing up? Actually, I know you did. Tell us about the sports you did growing up.
I played soccer, played basketball, which I hated. And then I moved to volleyball, which I stuck with through high school.
What position?
I was middle and outside.
Nice. What was your favorite things to do as a child? So before high school?
Oh, geez. Probably climb trees, make forts, play with friends. I was usually in the dirt. Nothing's changed much, actually.
Favorite thing to do in high school?
Gosh, I don't know. High school is a blur. I have no idea. Hang out with friends? Is that what everybody does?
Most embarrassing high school moment?
Let's see. I fell down a flight of stairs at a play once, which was really humiliating because all of the cast members were at the bottom of the stairs, and I just tumbled like flat. That one was pretty humiliating.
She's being pretty selective right now because she knows the whole word. Listen to this.
I have a lot of embarrassing moments.
Yeah. Do you have another one you want to share, Bobby, about an embarrassing high school moment with Ashley?
Keep it clean, man.
Well, Ashley didn't know me when I was in high school. She would have never married me had she known me in high school. But there was the one where you dressed up kind of silly.
Oh my gosh. We called her Foxy Roxy.
She basically dressed up like a prostitute.
That was your alter ego?
That was not the intention. That was not the intention. I just dressed up.
She was trying to make friends with her older sister.
Yeah.
It was like,
I was like
you got to dress
6'4", polyester brown suit with white polka
for
dots,
Halloween, right?
Marilyn Monroe.
It was for like Halloween.
I was huge.
Was this senior day or Halloween?
This was Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but nobody
dressed up to the point where the boys in the hall passed me and said, "Hi." I'm like, "Hi." They're like, "Dude, was that a girl?" God, I can't tell.
So she went home a little early.
Yeah, I cried myself.
Were you a freshman?
I was.
Trying to make friends.
Mm-hmm.
She should have taken advice from her sister because her sister didn't have any friends. That should have given you the first clue. Yeah.
No, Alpine is very different from Sandy.
Just really fast before you bounce over to Bobby, what did your parents do growing up?
My dad worked at the Y. He was in the film department, so he's actually in a movie called Napoleon Dynamite. If you know the principal, that's my dad.
Oh, famous.
Yeah, that's my little claim to fame. My mom is a teacher, middle school teacher. She retired several years ago.
Wow, that's kind of cool. All right, Bobby, let's hear about you, where you grew up.
Well, let's put on the record that counsel here is circumventing the rules. I was supposed to give him the interview before he gave me the interview, but somehow he manipulated us into this cell-like room here, no window.
It's really simple.
He just grabbed me by the arm and pulled me in here.
Yeah,
that's how he did it.
It's my podcast, so that's how it goes.
I don't know. What was the question?
Growing up, where'd you grow up?
So I born in West Valley, and then rode my big wheel there. somebody across the street got shot, so my mom moved us out to an old turkey farm called Cedar Hills.
It's a big area now.
It's a big area now. It's close to Highland and Alpine, which is how I eventually got to meet Ash. She was in the singles ward in Alpine, and I had a buddy who was in that ward. It was the rich kids ward, and I was not a rich kid, but I got to get in the ward because of him. Then I got to see Ash sing in the Christmas program, and here we are sitting in this
Almost 20 years later.
prison-like room, getting interviewed about
Freaky.
stuff. So that's where I grew up, and went to Lone Peak as well, and played baseball there, and just had a crazy childhood, just insane childhood, but it was a lot of fun.
Lots of stories loaded right there. You skidded by, so tell me at least one crazy story.
Well, I don't know.
And as your son would keep it family friendly.
Family friendly. Well, there's the American Fort Canyon was our backyard. So we would, and anybody listening to this, don't attempt any of this stuff. But I mean, we would ride down the canyon and turn the lights off and get on the windshield and just the dumbest things you could imagine. I'm not supposed to be here right now, but we would do stuff like that. That's probably one of the dumbest things.
Closest near-death experience.
It was probably actually my brother, not mine. He was. We had this old deck, and my mom wanted us to tar it. And my brother had this plastic covering over it. And I remember walking up there. I was probably like 12, and he was tarring it. This is Jay, and he wasn't moving. He was under this plastic. He wasn't moving. He had breathed in all these fumes. He had passed out, and I just saw his legs. And I pulled him out, and it was about maybe 30 seconds later. He wakes up. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Bob, for pulling me out of there. I don't know what would have happened to me." He was just, I don't know what he thought that you could just tar this thing with this plastic covering over him with no ventilation. But when you say near-death experience, that's what comes to my mind first is my brother Jay. I don't know if I fell out of the car when I was 5 years old. That was fun.
How'd you fall out of a car?
Well, back in the day, you didn't have to wear seatbelts.
And
That's
there
how
weren't car
that's how
seats.
old I am.
Yeah.
And so my dad, we were driving down just off of 35th South. We turned into our neighborhood in West Valley, and the windows were open, and I was standing up, and I fell out of the back seat of the car, and road rash everywhere, all over my face, scars. We didn't have health insurance, so Dad just stood me right in front of the bushes there, grabbed the lawn hose, and just hosed me down until my mom came out. She's like, "What are you doing?" and grabbed me. We still didn't go to the hospital or anything, so I still have a scar. If you can see, I've got one right here. This is from yesterday. I got in a fight with a tree yesterday, but this is from falling out of the car.
Well, that's a winner.
So maybe a TBI, I don't know. Maybe that explains a little bit more.
So some people use the phrase peaked in high school, which came to mind since we're talking about Lone Peak. So tell me about your peaking in high school.
Oh, shoot. I'm going to defer to Ash on that one. You go ahead
No,
and
you go
talk
first,
about
Bobby.
yours.
Then we'll get back to Ash.
Yeah, I'd love to hear this.
Have I peaked in high school? Did I even peak in high school?
What was your high school highlight?
I don't even, because my parents, so I don't want to make this super somber, but my parents got a divorce when I was a sophomore. So I was playing baseball, I was riding high, lots of friends, had big plans, and then mom and dad got a divorce when I was 14 years old. So that, I don't know if I ever got to really see my peak in high school. But it was probably just making the baseball team. That was a big deal to me. And I knew it was a big deal to my dad. And so when I saw my name on the coach's door on the roster, I saw Udall on there. That was a big deal. That was probably the peak for me. But I don't think I really got to realize my peak just due to, some stuff that happened.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I was a middle infielder, so I was the mouth of the team.
That makes sense.
So I think the only thing I'm remembered for, it reminds me of Happy Gilmore. He was remembered for getting in fights, but somebody flipped off our coach, and I was standing on first, just leading off. I think it was the first baseman, and I just we got in a fight, and next thing you know, the parents are yelling at each other and whatever. So I was a middle infielder with a troublesome childhood, but I loved the game. In fact, I used to pray before every pitch almost. I'd be out there and I'd just say, "Hey, Heavenly Father, I need you on this." Like hit my glove and it was ready for the ball. That's how intense I was.
That's interesting. So Bobby's trying to point to you about high school highlights. Let's hear it.
Yeah, because she had a family that was intact.
It's not that family doesn't make it here. We're talking about Ashley and volleyball. Volleyball standout.
Volleyball was pretty awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nobody in my family had played the game before, and so I was kind of like, I was finally in my own spotlight. I wasn't following my sister or my brothers in any type of way, so that was really cool.
What did you do after high school?
I went to college. I went to BYU for a year, and then I transferred to UVU, and I just eventually graduated in exercise science.
Well, me too. Jazzercise is what I like to say.
Oh,
yeah.
Jazzercise. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, just going back to volleyball real quick. Ash didn't play any volleyball until
I moved there.
Until she moved to Alpine as a freshman, and you're like, I guess I'll play volleyball, and so she just picked it up and was like fantastic at volleyball.
I made the JV team.
She made the softball team, the soccer team, basketball team. I mean, just any.
See, this
she
is why
can play any sport.
This is why it's fun to talk with couples, because then we get the real details.
Yeah.
No, like holding stuff back.
She's being modest here. So
I get it.
Ash and I, those were our dating years.
Oh yeah, we played tons of sports.
I mean,
tons
okay.
of sports.
So
What did you guys play during the dating years?
played
Oh wait,
tennis.
Specifically tennis.
So yeah, and here's the deal. Like in Utah, people like to certainly gossip about who's dating who and
how long they've been
and
dating.
how long they've been dating. And so we got that. It was like, well, Bobby and Ashley, they've been dating for about a year now. Can they even get married in the
They
temple?
probably can't get married.
That was the gossip. And so what we did was we just played a lot of tennis, right? So every
had a
time
net between us.
That's right. Every time we get a little too tempted, we just go play tennis. So sometimes we play tennis, 3 times a day.
That's pretty darn interesting there.
Yeah.
What did your son say today? Something about
Keep it family friendly. Yeah.
No. The other part was never trust a beautiful woman, right?
Oh, that is
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Who do your kids get their humor from? Is it a little of both?
Mm-mm. No, it's definitely Bobby.
You think?
The sass comes from me, the Bobby.
Yeah.
The goofiness.
Goofiness definitely comes from
Just
Bobby.
being silly.
All right.
Yeah.
And so after high school, Bobby, where'd you go? What'd you do? Was it straight to Mission?
So
Was
I
it college?
actually got through high school a year early and went to college and started out at UVU and went on a mission. And it was the mission that really changed my life.
Where'd you go and tell us about your mission?
So I went to Honduras, which I originally thought was in Europe. I've
Homeschooled a little too much.
For the record, I still haven't been to Europe. But I was looking on the map somewhere for Honduras in there until my sister's like, "You're an idiot. It's in Central America." Like, oh, okay. Learned that it was like the murder capital of the world at the time. So I got a patriarchal blessing that said I was going to be able to see awesome things on my mission and have an opportunity to lead and to learn and to do all these things. And I even said I was going to see other missionaries get into trouble, so to be careful and follow the rules. So I remember going down there, and I was teaching a discussion with my companion from Nicaragua, and we were chased out of the house by a guy wielding a machete. And that second night, we got robbed, and my companion didn't let me unpack all of my stuff. So I had one suitcase with shoes and things in there, and maybe some things I shouldn't have had because they had like a Discman, for the kids. That's like,
It's like a Walkman, but it played CDs.
So like an iPhone, right? But just for music. So that was all stolen. So I only had one pair of shoes in my whole mission. So I got chased out of the house with a machete. We got robbed, and I just remember falling on my knees saying, "Hey, whatever I got to do to get out of here safe, I need you." And I just really started to learn who he is and spend that quality time with God. And it was in an area called Valle de Angeles, which was anything but, the Valley of Angels. It was a crazy, wicked town. I think of Ammonihah sometimes, maybe not to that extreme, but I remember being there, and people didn't want to listen. And it was the craziest thing, because everybody in Honduras wants to listen, but not in this town. And I was sick, and I wasn't eating enough, and so I was skinny. I was burned from the sun. We were hitchhiking on a road that was just fraught with potholes. And I remember being in the back of this truck, and it was probably like 4 months into the mission, and I just looked up, and I'm like, what am I doing here? I just like that, threw my hands up, what am I doing here? And I got this impression. It was, I still talk about it, obviously, to this day. And it was, because I love you and I need you. And so I felt, not only did I talk to him, but I felt him, and really came to know him. I think of the Willie Martin Hancock Company, where the old guy in the back of the room stands up and is like, hey, I was in that company, and we met God when we were pushing those hand carts. Well, I met God in the back of that truck. And that changed my life. Because I was kind of going on strange roads and, meandering here and there, and didn't really know what I was going to do. And I went on my mission because I didn't want to make my mom upset. So I went out, didn't really know what I was doing. I was selfish, and then I had that experience. I was like, okay, it's me and you. Let's do this. And then for the rest of my mission, I just had these incredible experiences. Got to meet people who had dreams about me. That some skinny American
We all have dreams
boy.
about you, Bob, just so you know.
Well, one lady, we got to get moving here, but Maria, she told the folks that came in after me, the other missionaries that came in after me, he said, well, why did you get baptized? Well, I had a dream that this skinny American boy was going to knock on my door and teach me about Jesus. And so when I knocked on the door, she opened it up, she saw me, and she saw the guy in her dream, and we taught her, and she became president of the Relief Society before I left my mission. So I got to just do wonderful things. I'm still in touch with companions. I'm best friends. There's a guy that I know. We text each other every day. He's a lawyer as well. So the mission changed me, and there isn't a day that goes by I don't think about my mission. So then I came home, got to meet Ash in the singles ward.
So let's just start from Ash's side. So you're in college. Why did you choose exercise science?
I didn't want to be a nurse, and I don't want to sit at a desk, which ironically is what I do now. So
Your mom wanted you to be a nurse.
My mom wanted to be a nurse, yeah. And I want to do landscape architecture, and my siblings were like, well, why would you want to do that?
It's the same sibling that told her to dress up like a prostitute.
Yeah. So I should have done that, but didn't. Anyway, so that's why I ended up with that.
You said you sit at a desk all day now. What do you do now?
I work for my husband.
Really? What
Yes.
do you do for him?
Bookkeeping stuff.
Now, mind you, all of the assets are in Ash's name. Okay, so if anything happens to me, it's all yours.
That's smart.
Thanks.
We'll get back to you and your career in a second. So how'd you wind up doing bookkeeping? Is it just a family business helping
Yeah,
out?
Bobby cut off from his previous employer because he kind of hit the ceiling at that firm. So we decided to jump the boat and start our own thing. And so I became behind the curtain type of employee.
Just figuring it all out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So while you're in college, what did you like to do for fun?
Oh, I was obsessed with volleyball, so I played as much as I possibly could, and to the point where I was sloughing school to do it. So that was not a good thing. We would do stupid dates, go on lots of dating in college. Never dated before then, so I did a lot of that in college. And then I met him really quick. I met him when I was 19. So we dated for like a year and a half, and then got married.
Long enough for the gossiping to start.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how did he propose? Was it anything special?
He took me to a golf course, and we went and played 9 holes. And each hole, there was a reason of why I should marry him by somebody that we knew, whether a family member or friend.
Like they were on the green?
No, they were actually in the hole.
Oh, they were in the cup.
Yeah,
There's a
so
guy
there
who
was just a
played
piece
ahead
of
of us
paper
with-
of a quote why I should marry Bobby.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then we only played 9 holes that day, but
Yes.
in the 9th hole there was the ring. And
It
all she had to do was putt.
It took me about
And she had to putt
10
like,
minutes to get that
yeah,
last
she
putt
like
in.
quadruple bogeyed that hole. Yeah,
I knew it was coming.
So tennis and golf is a big part of your guys' life.
that's right.
And volleyball.
That's right.
That's fantastic. Where were you guys married in roughly, or when?
Salt Lake Temple, 2005.
Nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Hot day.
Yeah, we met Elder Ballard that day.
I don't even remember. I remember shaking someone's hand, but I was too oblivious.
Kind of a blur.
Yeah.
Just a big blur.
Yeah.
After your mission, you said you met Ashley by watching her sing in the choir. How'd you ask her out first time?
Well, we went to the bishop of the singles ward was Bishop Jones, and he was just this rich dude that had this enormous house. It was like a hotel, and he would have these FHEs at the house. So all of the singles would go to the house, and I went upstairs and I saw the girl. She looks a lot like her sister, by the way. And so I didn't know. I knew your older sister was getting married, and the first thing I said to you was like, "Hey, are you the one getting married?" You're like, "No, that's my older sister." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you're not getting married." And she was just this gorgeous, $1 million smile. She was wearing a red dress. She didn't have any shoes on, and I got her phone number. She gave me a legit phone number, which was a good sign, and started hanging out all the time.
Yeah. Went
Went over to meet her dad, and went to shake his hand and said, "Hey, I'm Bobby Udall." First thing he said is, "Get your damn shoes off." Just, I was just like, "Oh, okay." But that was the introduction to Ash's family, who I love. We lived with them for a year after law school, and yeah.
And so
So
we know you're a lawyer. How'd you wind up getting into law and law school?
Well, I loved the O.J. Simpson trial growing up. That was a big deal to me. We'd go play basketball, we'd come back inside, watch the trial. I was in the 8th grade when the verdict came out, and I think I was the only kid in the school that was actually cheering that Johnny Cochran was able to pull it off. I don't cheer for murderers, but hey, he was proven innocent. I was acquitted.
They did a better job.
And, they screwed up on the blood evidence. And so I got really into it, and my mission president was an attorney. And I came home and I took an American government class, and that's when my grandma really started teaching me about my family and the Udalls, and I got really into that. And I took the LSAT, and I did not do well on it. But I did find a place at Thomas Jefferson, and that's where I went to the law school. And we moved out here, and we were dirt poor.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job tutoring, and we had Gracie, and we stayed married.
That was a rough time.
And because she didn't see me, and if she saw me, it was the back of my head studying.
Yeah,
So
he became a robot. It was really weird. Like he lost personality.
we just go to the library, study. Go to the library,
Yeah.
study.
What were you doing during law school, Ash?
Well, I tried to get a job, but unfortunately that was like 2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
So
recession.
nobody could get a job. And I was already pregnant at that point, trying to hide it. And so we had Grace.
Because
And she
nobody
was
wants to
basically-
hire a pregnant
Nobody wants a
LDS
pregnant.
woman.
No.
Because that's like 8 months of employment.
Seriously. So, yeah, I just had Grace, and then she just became my new best friend because I didn't have any other friends. Because Bobby was gone.
Mm.
So, yeah.
And then after law school, did you guys go back up to Utah?
Yeah, I started clerking at the U.S. Attorney's Office down here, which was tons of fun. And then we did that first semester, and we got to go home actually one semester early. And I clerked at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Salt Lake. And that's where I met some really good friends. And got to work on the Elizabeth Smart sentencing of Brian David Mitchell, which was cool. And took the bar, lived with Ash's family for a year, but studied for that bar in her house, passed it, and started working for a personal injury firm right out of law school. And did that for 5 years until Ash said, "Hey, when are you going to do your own thing?" And, well, I had a little bit of help too, right? With some other guy.
If he would have listened to me say that, he would have left earlier. But he has to listen, may I say, a man who is a lawyer that would finally say, "Yeah, you should leave." And I say, "Okay, I told you."
It was
so.
the craziest thing. I was fasting. I was like, "Okay, am I going to stay?" Because it was a pretty good gig, And I was one of their trial lawyers doing whatever cases they didn't want. They were just throwing me all the all the bad cases, and I was just litigating those and having lots of fun. But I had this urge, like, well, I gotta, some birds aren't meant to be caged, and so I wanted to do my own thing. And Ash kept saying, do it, do it, do it. So I prayed and I fasted, and I'm like, hey, listen, you got to tell me, or I'm gonna stay.
Because listen, your wife's not good enough.
No, it's not.
He's like, yeah, well, I sent your wife. What's the matter with
an
you?
angel?
Yeah. So I was in elders. It was church ended, and this right when we were leaving, this guy, an attorney I met from Texas, at a soccer game, came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you're Bobby." Yeah. He's like, "Hey, you still with that firm?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You need to leave that firm. You need to start your own firm. Have a nice day." And then went and started talking to somebody else. And I came home, and he had like these gold rings on. He wasn't even wearing a tie. You could see the chest hair up here. He was like this mafia boss type guy. It was kind of weird. I was like, "This is the guy you sent." He's like, "Well, I sent your wife, and you wouldn't listen, so I had to send this guy." And so I went and I told my my boss, who I love, that I was going to leave and start my own firm. And so we did, and it was crazy. And it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
And the secretary, the attorney, the marketer, the paralegal, everything. And it was so crazy for the first couple of years, right?
Yeah.
But then we started winning cases, and it was like, well, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can't manipulate people into believing what I have to say. And the rest is history. Now we're here. Oh, and then I took the bar in California, and I was coming out to California, starting up a little practice out here as well. I'm just building this firm while I was building the Utah firm at the same time. So it was two separate firms. And here we are. We're having like the time of our life.
Ash, what got you guys to come back to California?
Oh, Bobby was hell-bent on coming back, for sure. He wanted to live out here. That was not a question.
Ash would have lived in like any of those Midwestern states.
Podunk. Yeah, I could have lived.
She would be happy anywhere. She'd be happy barefoot in Kentucky.
As long as I have some dirt to dig in, I'm totally fine. And as soon as he said, you can garden all year round, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm here.
So landscape gardening, it had stuck with you, huh?
I haven't changed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are your favorite things to do now?
Gardening. I must be the most boring person to interview. Yeah, I love playing in dirt still. I love sports. I love camping. Anything. I'm really up for anything.
Volleyball still a part of life?
Not as much as I would like it to be, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, still staying active.
Favorite restaurant around here?
Market.
Oh, interesting. Favorite... I wasn't expecting that answer. Made me actually have to sit and pause for a second. Favorite dessert?
Probably nothing will beat like a warm, gooey brownie.
That's
honestly.
good.
Yeah.
Anything good on Netflix you've liked lately?
Other than my murder mysteries.
Ash is like into this serial killer stuff.
I think I need more drama in my life. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Which is your
I'm
favorite
a
kid?
psychopath.
Which is your favorite killer?
My favorite killer? Or
No, I said
kid?
favorite kid. I hope the kids aren't killers. Favorite kid is which?
Like today, like right this minute, because it changes.
Do you want to
so
actually say on the
quickly.
record? Actually, tell us about your kids.
Okay, Grace is 14, and she is. How do I put this? She's a firecracker. She was born headstrong and has not changed. She knows what she wants when she wants it. Super talented in anything she does. Rue, I call him Rue. That's his initials. But he is just he's just a jokester all the time. Anytime he's annoying or he's making up random weird plays at home, and he's just so fun to be around. Claire is, we call her a hippie. She has created these little camps around our property.
Homeless
encampments where she creates like her own little house, and then she'll make creations out of like old gourds from last year that she found in the garden, and little fairy gardens out of whatever she can find. So she's always in the dirt playing by herself. She's a bit crazy. She just got 8 stitches last week from smashing her face into the asphalt on a skateboard. So
Ooh.
And she was on a skateboard the next day.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah, because that's Claire.
Yep.
It bounces right back, and then Willie, he's just obsessed with baseball.
He's our jock.
He's total jock. Loves to play. Does not want to be left out. Always wants to play.
That reminds me, Bobby, I forgot to ask you. So, landscape, volleyball over here. What are your pastimes nowadays?
I love everything out here. I'm golf, tennis, volleyball.
Don't forget pickle.
Pickleball's so fun. I want to get into boating more. Bobby and I are going to get scuba certified. It's everything. I mean, we do everything out here.
There's too many options. It's like you can't.
It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's just so fun. So it's just like, it's super broad. All the things I love to do out here. I love California.
Can definitely tell that. How about you as far as favorite restaurants? Is it Market also?
We ate there yesterday. It's the best. We got to go.
I'm going to have to try it again. I've only been there once.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Favorite dessert?
Dippin' Dots.
Oh, gross. That's disgusting.
Birthday cake.
Birthday cake
Birthday
flavor.
cake. Flavor.
Do you guys have a favorite cereal?
My homemade granola.
Actually, yeah.
Ooh. I might have to try that too.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you some.
Favorite cartoon growing up?
You got one?
Cartoon? The first thing that came to my mind was Saved by the Bell. I watched a lot of Saved by the Bell.
That counts.
Okay.
Zach.
Yes, Zach Morris.
Yeah.
Screech.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Dennis the Menace.
Fraggle
DuckTales.
Rock.
DuckTales.
DuckTales. That was classic. Man, all right. I'm getting some good memories here. All right. So kind of wrapping this
Race
all
cars,
up.
lasers, airplane.
He could sing the whole thing.
That's amazing. You could probably use that in a closing argument sometime too. So, Bobby, tell us something about Ash that we might not know. And then we'll go do vice versa. Like something we don't know, Ashley.
Ash is a gatherer. She just wants to bring people together. So she loves to plan parties. She likes to go to people in the ward that are overlooked, and invite them to her house. She's just somebody who wants the community to come together. She wants everybody to have a garden so they can have the same experiences she has. She prays over her garden and the trees, and she's just so environmentally conscious, and won't let me put pesticides on her grass anymore.
That's a shame.
And
You don't even do your own grass. What do you care?
Ash is just everything that is good in our community, and but I would say the thing that folks just don't know, because she doesn't talk about the stuff that she does, she wants to bring people together.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. Ashley?
I would say Bobby. The thing that people don't know about him unless they're really, really close friends are his characters that he makes. He has many, many characters that he has created. You won't know them unless he feels comfortable sharing them with you. But he's just a total goofball, which is what I love about him.
That's great.
Yeah.
So kind of wrapping it all
Yes.
up, so the purpose that we do these is A, for everybody to get to know about people in the ward, and B, it's a little bit of some personal history that you can put on your family search, memories and things like that. So as you kind of wrap that up, for your children and for posterity, what's your testimony of Jesus Christ?
Jeez. I've actually been troubled with this question recently. Because I feel like he's changing the older I get. I feel like what I thought about God and Christ as a child is not the same as what I think about him now. I used to think of them very scary and strict, and now I feel like it's just love. It's just love and kindness and sincerity and just wanting everybody to be together, to be nice, just be good to each other. And I really hope and pray that is what God and Christ expect of us, is just to love one another.
I think they do. And that's a sweet testimony. Bobby, how about you? Who's Jesus to you?
Well, if my kids do find this recording, or my grandkids, or my great-grandkids, he's a friend to me. He's somebody who he was there when my parents were getting a divorce. He was there during the really dark, awkward times. He was there when I was in the back of that truck. So he's somebody who doesn't leave me when I need somebody. We sang that song today, page 129. And there's a verse there, where can I run? And it's to him. And so that's my testimony.
That's really cool. Thank you both for spending time and sharing. I remember when you first moved into the ward, it might have been in the first week or so, what really stands out in my mind as who you are as individuals and your family is y'all showed up at some Eagle project in the ground digging and laughing and making jokes and making friends right out of the gate. And you're still that way. So thank you for being part of the ward. Thank you for letting me get you today.
Stay tuned for the interview with Greg after.